All right. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Sunday night, September. Wow, June. September 7th, 2025. Got some topics tonight. For those watching later, it's going to be good. We got some good ones tonight. We got a lot going on. Even though we've kind of talked about these in videos, we can really expand, kind of get your guys' thoughts and what's going on with everything. And yeah, I picked a couple spicy topics tonight. Well, one's spicier than the other. One's mild flavored, I guess you could say. And then we can just kind of go from there and get your guys' thoughts, and then we'll wrap it all up. So that's what we're doing. First topic I do want to talk about, even though we've talked about it, is going to be Storm Arena. And, well, they announced basically their whole 2026, or maybe not. I don't know if that is their 2026. Storm's hitting below the belt. Yo, what's going on, Seawolf? What's going on, King of Pirates? I'm really upset with Jada. The distribution is freaking slow. We're going to talk a little bit about that, too. So we have two pretty decently spicy topics, and I... Excuse me. My God, the cough. We are going to talk a little bit about Jada, because it does seem like they need to be talked about a little bit more. I was going to plan on doing a video as well. I don't know if this live stream will be good enough for people, or if they'll want a full video on it, but we'll talk about mostly about what that video is going to be and what's going on there. Supdil, what's going on? And we got Eduardo Sabatino. Storm is ruthless. Storm is ruthless right now. Avery, what's going on? How are we doing? Appreciate everyone coming by, saying hi. Make sure you leave a like on the stream. I don't know if that hype button thing, I don't know what the hell that hype button is. But if you guys have any hype points, go ahead and hype it on up, Could use it. Could use the hype. Lord knows we could use a little more hype around here, am I right? So, here we go. We got 2026 Storm Arena. And by the way, if you guys don't, this is a podcast style, but at the same time, if you guys hop in with a comment, I'm going to stop immediately and talk to you guys. I feel like way too much I watch live streams where you just sit there and listen the whole time. I really try to get you guys involved. So if you have anything to say, I pretty much am going to just read it right away off the rip. I wonder if June collects Storm Arena. I wouldn't be shocked if he did. Like, he's still a fan of figures, and even for research purposes, I'm sure he, it's no secret that the new articulation in the body molds on Jada seem to mimic Storm to some degree. So, maybe. I'm sure he does. Alright, guys, we gotta stay in school. King of Pirates, I know you did not just spell does, D-O-S-E, dose. Come on, guys, we gotta stay in school. We gotta pay attention to the spelling here. No, I'm just kidding. That's a classic mistake, but I found it pretty hilarious. I agree, Eduardo, showing Akuma and Balrog see you and raise you. Come on, guys, stay in school here. We gotta pay attention to that stuff. Can't be spelling dust as dose. Just can't do it. But I did want to start off with Storm Arena, because regardless whether, Jada, it's very interesting what's going on here. And I say that way too much, but it is. It's interesting. I find it interesting. He went to the school of Hard Knocks. He went to the school of something, right? So, we got the new characters announced. We got Akuma, Balrog, Cammy. Now, everybody seems to say, they thought I was out of pocket when I say that, does Zangief look funny in this picture, or is it just me? What face is that? They're like, he looks fine. He's making a weird-ass face. No? Is that not a weird face? It's a weird face, folks. It is. And I don't care what you say, it is. It's weird. And there's no blood. They're like little blood. That's his eyebrows. That's not blood. I don't know. They're like, it has blood squirting out of him from his veins. I'm like, where? What? Those are his eyebrows. Those are his eyebrows. I need Mika. The SHF version is extremely expensive on eBay. Factual. He looks like a dignified citizen. I don't know what he looks like, but he looks funny. He does. I don't know why everyone's like, he looks fine. I mean, I'm not saying Zangief isn't a serious, like, macho character. I'm just saying it's a weird picture that he has there. I don't know. He's, like, looking up. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. It's just a funny picture to me. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's a funny, weird picture, I thought. Yo, Edgar, what up? So, I don't know. Do you guys feel like there's any relation, or is it just purely coincidence that the next two characters, even though they will not release anywhere close to each other, Balrog and Akuma being next, I don't know. I feel like that's just too on the nose a little bit. Even though they're they're not even going to be close. Like, Storm isn't set to release their figures until probably mid next year for those guys, where Jada's is going to hit this year. I feel like it's a little on the nose. That's actually blood coming out of the blood vessel that burst. No, it's not. It doesn't even look... What are you talking? The thing right above his head? That's blood? That looks... I don't see it, I guess. That is weird. Definitely weird. Hey, everyone. Hey, y'all. Kevin, what's going on? Shit, sorry I'm late. Kevin, unacceptable. Just don't let it happen again, you know? Yo, what's up, Kevin? Facts. I don't know. It looks like eyebrows. If it is blood, then it's... I don't know. Then it's weird. But it seems a little spot on to me. Zangief, yes. Okay. But, yeah, I found it a little too spot on, right? Because the next two characters happen to be, but find a bigger image and you'll see. Okay, well, let's do that. Let's see. Where the heck is that image? It's not that. Alright. Ah! Alright. Oh, wow, it is blood. Okay. Huh! That's crazy. Damn, that's graphic as hell. What the hell? Alright, fair enough. You win. You win this round. Interesting. Yeah, it's blood. It is blood. Huh. Damn, that's graphic as hell. I am getting Akuma and Zangief. You don't like Balrog? What are your guys' thoughts on Balrog? I feel like he's not that popular of a character. Just because there's really nothing that unique about him. To me, he's just like a buff, he's just a buff boxer. There's nothing like... It's just a boxing character. Seawolf wins. Flawless victory. That was my worst Mortal Kombat. I have Balrog for the soda line. That's an old figure. Yeah, Balrog is kind of meh. Buff black guy censored. No, I didn't say buff black guy. I was going to throw that he was black in there, but... You know, it doesn't matter if he's black or not, but I'm just saying. He's just a buff black boxer. It's a BBB. He is a BBB. And we'll leave it at that. Because then if we say any more, it gets a little too into different territory. You are winding me up, Alex, and I'm going to need you to tone it down. Cammy, I know everyone's excited for Cammy. I don't know why. Why do you guys like this outfit so much? Is there anything particular about this this outfit that she wears? Everyone always talks about the Killer Bee outfit. It's cool, but I don't think it's that much better than her green one. Sakura better be next from Jada if they want to get me back. I don't even think Sakura's in Ultra. I just need Jada to be better. At least you guys kind of are there. We'll talk about the Jada topic later, but I did want to cover this because... I like to get your guys' thoughts and opinions on Storm. Balrog's pretty cool. I would have liked to seen Balrog or Zangief replaced for Guile, just because I would love to have a Storm Arena Guile to go with Charlie Nash. That only makes sense. To me, that makes a lot of sense. That makes almost too much sense not to do it, but... Marvel vs. Capcom. It's her Shadaloo outfits. It's perfect. Also, oh, it is Marvel vs. Capcom. Is that why? Storm is way better with sculpting, but I just started Jada's. Well, Kevin, unless you have all of them, then you could definitely hop off. Yo, what up, Wu-Tang Batman? What's going on? Balrog is a beast. Cammy Alpha outfit sucks. Oh, wow, that's a hot take. Never heard someone say it sucks before. And then, I don't know, everyone seems to love Armika. I really don't know what the fascination is with her. It couldn't be because she has a giant ass and giant tits, could it? No, that could be it. No, the community's not perfect. You know, we're not perverts like that. How am I going to explain that figure, by the way? That figure is going to come through the mail. My wife is going to see that figure, Armika, on my shelf. I'm going to have to explain that somehow. And explain why and how it fits into the roster. I'm not going to be able to display that. How am I supposed to explain that one? Cammy I can get away with, but Armika, that's really pushing it. Armika will have soft cake for Storm. Factual. I just got Storm Collectibles Ken Master Alpha 3. Awesome. Yeah. Their figures are nice. They're very nice. Armika is a huge fan of Zangief wrestling. Interesting. But I think it's a solid roster. My main question, if I could ask Storm, is this it? Is this all of 2026? This can't be it. This is way too early in the year. Is Storm going to run out of things to announce? Because they just keep going. Every week, they have something to announce. Is Storm eventually going to run out of things to announce? How far into the future are we going to go here? Because is this all of 2026, or is this just the first half? Is the question. There's more coming. Armika and Ingrid were my less desired picks, but I take them if Storm puts them out. Factual. Can't wait. Storm's doing the whole Alpha 3 roster. I think you guys need to get off the whole roster shit. That's what I think. There's no way you guys love every single character. There's got to be a few characters in the roster where you're like, if they don't make him, I'm all right. Because not many companies do that. And I know Jada gets this, like, reputation now that they're, like, all about creating rosters or finishing rosters. But, again, if I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. I honestly think that they are only completing the roster for Street Fighter Ultra 2. That's it. Like, you guys in the full rosters thing, I think that's a little bit of an unfair expectation for companies. Because not everybody is going to sell. You have to realize that, right? Like, you guys may want them, but there are definitely characters within the roster that these guys have to make money on. They can't just put them out to put them out. It's like, oh, this figure sold like shit, but hey, at least we put the full roster out. Like, you have to realize they have to return a profit on these, right? Like, they can't just make it for fandom. They don't just make these figures for fandom. They also have to make money. Collecting both Jada and Arena, just waiting on Vega. You don't have Vega yet. Interesting. I'm up to date. Only have Ken and Ryu from Storm. That's all that's available now, so you're caught up there. I like them way more, but different games, and happy to have them both. Factual. Don't care for Sodom. Alpha 2 would be a good finish, at least roster-wise. You gotta like. Thank you, Edgar. I collect very few and specific Street Fighter characters like Ryu, Ken, Akuma, etc. Thank you, Mr. Kevin. I appreciate all those that are liking the stream. It helps out. I honestly think Storm Arena would... Okay, let me read this again. I honestly think Storm Arena would to show Jada up. Wanted to show Jada up. That's just my honest opinion. Though I won't hold my breath on it. It does seem like they are trying to do something there, doesn't it? I know someone with your name. Alright, anyways. Moving on. I do like the character selection. I would have loved to seen Guile. again, I think is really my only gripe, because I want a Guile Storm Arena to go with Charlie. I think that would have been really cool. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with everything. I think the ones I could have done without would have been Zangief, or I mean, obviously Balrog would have been my, he's cool, I guess, but I could have done without Balrog and taken a Guile. I would have loved the Guile to go with Charlie, but whatever. There's always more down the line, I guess. I hate what Jada and Storm are doing. They could have made different characters so we as fans could have had the whole alpha. T. Mitch, I do think that Jada already had things in motion before they even knew Storm Arena was a thing. Now, the fact that they ended up creating the same characters, that's another story. I don't know what happened there. But I do think Jada had already picked out Chun-Li, Charlie, and Ryu before Storm Arena was even announced. I do think that. It just ended up being bad luck. Is that what we're going to say? Do we think there was a mole over at Storm that, reported back to Storm? Or what's going on there? Not having Guile's my only gripe as well. Watch him be the next reveal. Probably. So, we did get 100% confirmation. I don't know how many of you guys also watch Mountain Arts Reviews, Mars. He actually spoke to the company that's going to be representing Storm at New York Comic Con. And they did confirm that Storm was going to be there, that Storm was going to have new product either available to show off or sell. I'm not sure which one. They were pretty vague in that aspect. But they were probably going to have a bunch of new things there. So that's pretty cool. I think Jada will use Storm's announcements going forward to see where the gaps to fill. I mean, goddamn, Storm's moving so fast. And we're going to talk about Jada here in a second. But I wanted to get your guys' thoughts first on the Storm Arena. Are you guys trusting this? Is also a big key to this. Jada shouldn't abandon Alpha. Storm's distribution is so limited and they're pipelining so far out just to screw with Jada. I mean, Alex, they've dropped just as many figures this year as Jada has outside of Player 2s. Storm has done everything. They are producing. At one point, Storm was really pumping out figures. And I do think they got dealt a bad hand. They had COVID where they couldn't do things for about 2 years. Then they just had this huge tariff thing hit. I do think Storm is capable of pumping out figures. Because if you go back and look at all the Storm figures, there's a lot of them. Not only is there a lot of characters, but there's a lot of variations of those characters. So at one point, Storm was really cooking out figures. And I think they can do it. I just think they've had a little bit of a bad luck string over the last 5 years, I guess you could say, because we know that COVID definitely took up 2021 and 2020. So there's 2 years where they're halted. And then you had, they've had 2 years to kind of get Storm Arena rolling for 23-24. And now this year, they're having to deal with tariffs. So I think they've just had a little bit of bad luck. But I do think that at one point Storm could cook out figures, and we could probably see that starting next year. I mean, so Mr. Lee, I don't know how many guys, just to answer Seawolf Swim, however, Storm Arena announced that Baki first, and he's a no-show. So, to address that, we did get an answer on that. Mr. Lee, who I guess speaks with somebody over at Storm, so he was showing off Yujiro Hanma. He said Baki is going to be shipped the following week right after Yujiro. So there's no delay on Baki. They just happened to get Yujiro done first, so they showed him off. And then Baki, I think they fixed the little ab crunch thing on Baki like they did Sagat, is my guess. And so he got pushed back out a week, but he is coming very short, almost simultaneously the week after. Storm won't have to do all those figures out by the end of next year. I'll be shocked. I mean, God, they've got 7 figures that need to be out by quarter one. They have, who is it? Dan, Charlie. There's some figure from Baki in a white suit. And then there's one other. They've got so many figures coming out in quarter one. I'm curious to see what they can do here. I'm loving all the arena announcements and pre-order drops, but how long will they take to hit retailers? Well, first of all, they don't hit retailers because they only hit Big Bad Toy Store. Storm doesn't sell. I mean, unless your comic book store orders directly through somebody to get them to them, then they don't hit retailers technically. Couldn't find Mr. Lee's Yujiro video. I mean, if you follow Mr. Lee, it's like his last 2 videos. I've seen a newly posted interview video from SDCC in June did say Alpha they'd rather do new characters than do Street Fighter 2 characters again. Probs get Sakura and Jada earlier than Storm. Baki and Yujiro arrive the same time makes sense. Yeah, kind of like the Ken and Ryu situation. One was pushed out just a little bit, but there it is. Just to put it out there, this channel and Mars channel are my #1 go-to tops for content. Keep up the excellent work. Thank you. I appreciate that. I know he appreciates that. We try the best we can. I mix it up a little bit more than he does. I think I cover a few more things than he does. He definitely covers things I don't cover, though, like SH Figure Arts. He covers everything with them. I only really cover, like, the stuff that I would collect, like the Spider-Man and things like that. So I do cover Marvel Legends and NECA and things like that too that I don't think he'll cover. And some McFarlane. But yeah, we try the best we can. We appreciate that. Mars glazes Storm too much. See, I am a fan of Storm, but I have no problem saying that they suck ass at getting the figures out. Like, I don't think they're perfect. I think every figure company has problems. There's not one perfect company out there where I'm just like, oh, they do no wrong. Storm definitely does wrong, but they've done a lot better this year, so I have to give them props when I see the effort. Mars wants to get hired at Storm. That's a factual statement. He'd love it. He'd be very on board with that idea. Which one of all those alpha figures do I want the most? Sagat, and then Akuma, and then Charlie, and then Mika, then Zangief, then Cammy, then Dan, then Chun-Li. Dan would have been higher if he would have got a goofier face. And I know what people are going to say. Dan was serious throughout his timeline a lot. I get that Dan was serious, but look at that face. He wasn't obviously that serious in this, projection of him. And I think a lot of people I don't think many people wanted a serious Dan. I think a lot of people were hoping for the goofy one. So, I know that he can portray serious at times throughout his timeline, but I think most people were hoping for a crying face or something along those lines. Something. But yeah. Anyways. But other than that, I do think Storm is doing a better job. But I still got to see what we get for the rest of this year. Would you guys... Okay, so I asked Mars this a lot. I talked to Mars quite a bit. For Storm to have a successful year, would you guys be happy if all they released this year... I can't think of any other figure that's supposed to drop this year. I think it's Ryu, Ken, Sagat, Baki, and Yujiro. So 5 figures just this year. Are you guys counting that as a successful year for them? Year 1? Or no? You want Serious Dan, just get the next Storm Arena Ryu. In the Udon Street Fighter comics, Dan is a clown most of the time. Should have came with that goofy expression head. Yeah. They're just waiting to make people buy another Dan, and they'll rush it out before Jada drops theirs. Maybe. I'd love to see like a con exclusive. Maybe some different alternate head sculpts or something like that, Can't wait for my Sagat to ship. I'm excited for Akuma, Chun-Li, and Charlie. I'm also curious about this Cammy. Cammy's great. I think you'll love the Cammy, but I don't think a lot of people have a lot of confidence in their female figures. I don't think they've done a great job, according to you guys. Every female figure I feel like I've seen by Storm has done pretty well, other than the Morrigan figure. I guess the head sculpts were off to some degree, but yeah. They've always done BBTS exclusives with a few switched out pieces. Yeah, they probably do that then. I'm not a fan of Sagat's alpha colors. The Jada is all I need. Yeah, but oh man, that Sagat. Once you see it, Eduardo, once you see a couple reviews on that Sagat, you're gonna be singing a different tune, my friend. Because that Sagat figure could be like figure of the year. It's gonna be pretty crazy. Let me ask you guys. I know that they're different interpretations. Jada and Storm Arena's Balrog and Akuma. Dude, that Akuma figure is going to be so fire. And I hope, and I'm pretty sure they are, but I hope that they have that Akuma somewhat built up for New York Comic Con. That Akuma is going to be so fire in 6-inch form. Jada Sagat is terrible. I don't think it's terrible. It's just a different style. Like, Storm and Jada are different. Like, when you look at Jada, they kind of look like Marvel Legends. Like, if you said Hasbro, make Street Fighter figures, that's kind of what they'd look like. I just think the style and the material is so different. I mean, if Storm could have done this all along, why didn't they? If they can make that quality all the way down to 6-inch, I don't know why they haven't done this sooner. That Akuma Arena made me skip Jada's. Interesting. I just feel that Storm is inconsistent from figure to figure. Ryu and Sagat don't look like they're from the same line. Interesting. So you think... Hold the phone. Let me see. Let's get your guys' opinions on this. So you think... Hold up. Give me 2 seconds here. So you think this looks out of character? No, this is your words, not mine. You think this looks... You think this looks like it doesn't match? You think that looks off? To me, his head is too small. Whose? Sagat's? Really? I don't feel like it looks too small. What are your guys' thoughts? Anybody else? I think it looks great. And they don't even have that ab crunch piece anymore. Has anyone noticed that Storm puts out 2 separate boxes? One for Zero for the Asia market and Alpha for the US market. Hopefully for the Asia boxes, Balrog, Vega, and Bison left their JPN names. I did notice that. It doesn't bug me, though. Like, I'm not that big of a stickler. If it says, you know, Vega on there instead of the actual name, then... I pre-ordered one from Big Bad Toy Store whenever the hell they get theirs, and then I'm going to pay the ultimate price whenever it releases in Hong Kong from either eBay or Ollie. The first Jada Street Fighter figures are all pretty bad. They got better with each figure. That Jada Chun-Li and Cammy are amazing. Well, Chun-Li was like their third figure they ever did, so... Yeah, I mean, Alex, who's to say that maybe they don't have Sagat in his purple shorts at New York Comic Con? Because I don't know if you guys knew this or not. Here's a little Storm history. They actually released the Player 2 Sagat first at San Diego Comic Con and then dropped the Player 1. So could they do that with Storm Arena? Maybe. Because we've already seen him in the purple shorts. The ultimate price, Eduardo. Kuma Jada didn't look menacing like my evil Ryu from them. Those new Jada figures are going to be fire, but let's be honest about the first figures. They are bad. Ken Ryu Sagat. Wait, what are you talking about? Ken Ryu Sagat. Are you talking about the alpha figures? Zero, what up, man? I wish I can make a Street Fighter live movie myself. Oh, that movie is going to be so bad. So bad. I'll get one from Asia Market and pay that premium. Definitely worth it, though. Yeah, factual. Imagine saying Fei Long is a bad figure. I never said it. I didn't say it. I read the chat. But that doesn't mean that came from me. That's not my interpretation. I like the Fei Long. That's one of my favorites, I think. As time has gone by, it's one of my favorites. I think right now my top 3 are Vega, Guile, Dhalsim, and Fei Long. Or no, Blanca's got to be up there. I don't know. It's somewhere in there. I like Fei Long, though. I like Jada, Ryu, and Ken to each their own. I mean, I definitely feel like if they were to recreate them, I think really all that's missing from Jada's is they need more shading. Like, for sure, they need more shading. But with more shading comes more money, which costs a higher price tag. Are you getting those wrestling Street Fighter? No. God, no. No. We stay away from the wrestling Street Fighter figures. And the Power Ranger Street Fighter figures. I like the Storm collectible Fei Long better than Jada's, just my opinion. Well, that figure's way different, Kevin. That figure's also $70 more and is huge. But yeah, I do like Storm's Fei Long. But we're talking about comparing a Honda to like a BMW. It's just different price, different, you know. I don't like the crossover figures. I really don't mind paying $40 to $50 for these figures. Yeah, me either. I think Jada shading is just right. Some companies go overboard. See, Alex, there's time. Some of the figures do have good shading, but I think figures like Guile came out a little soft. Definitely Sagat came out soft looking. Needed more shading. And is there another one? Maybe, no. For sure, Guile and Sagat needed more shading, in my opinion. And maybe Vega to some degree. Not his mask, but somewhere else. For me, is now pricing almost equal. Jada's was cheaper, not anymore. Do you guys ever have any Soda Street Fighter figures? No. I've definitely appreciated them, but I'm not going to go back and try and collect them. 1, they're hella expensive. 2, because they were made so long ago, I actually heard that they're pretty fragile now. Like, the joints have, like, turned into dust. I already paid $40 for those Storm Arena figures. I'm from the Netherlands, so ordering through Ali. Yeah. Yeah, like, on the face, Alex. Like, look at Guile's face. It looks way too soft. He could use a little more shading in the cheekbones. And Sagat, his muscles need more shading for sure. And Guile could use more shading in the muscles. They did really good shading on the tank top, but I feel like on the arms and on the face and on the hair of Guile, they could have used more shade, especially the hair. Could have put a little brown wash in there or something. You sold all your Soda figures? Nice. I mean, like I said, I agree with you for the most part. I feel like there's a lot of shading. I feel like Blanca could use a little more shading, too, in his muscles. Looking at him. And maybe his hair. But I do think a lot of people would agree that Sagat also needs some more shading. I think the Sagat sculpt turned out really nice. You'd be crazy to see, like, if you I've seen a few photos where they've actually, like, customized and redone the shading on the Sagat figure, and he looks night and day different with some better shading. A lot better. Like, the sculpt is there for Sagat on the Jada figure, but it just looks a little too soft. So you'd be shocked if you look at some of the customizations on the shading on Instagram, what these figures are truly potential is with some more shading. Because the sculpts are definitely there for the most part. I think Ryu could probably use a better head sculpt, and maybe Ken. But the rest of them are all pretty good. Can you show Sagat with the improved shading? I just saw it in passing. I didn't save it or anything, unfortunately. Ah, Jermaine. Mr. Lee. Not the Mr. Lee, but one of the Mr. Lees out there. Jay Lee. I was a hardcore Street Fighter collector. Nice. Well, guys, it is what it is. This is what we are now, trying to get. Let's enjoy our figures. Hey, Kevin, I'm not saying... We're bashing everybody here. It does seem like we're coming after Jada pretty hard, but don't think for a second that I wouldn't go after Storm right now. I could rant on Storm right now if you really want. Because, trust me, Storm is not out of the fire by any means with me. I could go off on Storm like signing their stupid-ass exclusivity contract with Big Bad Toy Store. Alright? I can go off on Storm right now if I have to. I don't play favorites by any means. I've been giving it to Jada recently because I feel like they have stepped back a little bit this year, but I will go at Storm all day if I have to. My God. Don't even get me started with Storm and their production and getting their figures to America. Trust me, I could go all day on Storm if I need to. This isn't a let's gang up on Jada. I just have seen more effort this year from Storm than Jada. And there is an argument to be made about Jada saying, well, you know, they've already announced all their figures. They've already shown what they're going to do. But there's ways to still market yourself without, you know, you don't have to keep, like, I get that you already showed everything, but you can still, there's ways to still market yourself, right? There is. And I think that's a good segue into this. Let's talk Jada. Let's talk Jada. Let's do it. Let's get going there. I'm just a Jada kid. You can be a Jada. Hey, I still love Jada. For the record, I collect both. Okay? I think I've already said that, but for those in the back that are new here, maybe feel like I'm shilling for one company more than the other, that's false. It's fake news. Not. I have all the Jada figures, minus some of the Player 2s. I like the Jada figures. I'm into the Jada figures. But I've seen Jada hit a little bit of a slump this year, for some degree. I like them both. Evil Ryu and Bison. I think Jada's Charlie Mash looks much better. Well, and granted, these are just first prototypes, folks. I don't know if you guys remember, but let's take a trip down memory lane real quick. Right? Let's do that. Real quick. Just real quick. We'll get back to, I just want to show you what a year can do, right? So, in 2024, we saw, wait, where is it? Did we see, where? Oh, dude, I lost that. That's so annoying. Hold on one second. I just want to show you something, what a year's difference can do, right? So, this was 2024 Comic-Con. This is what Zangief looked like. It was one of their first prototypes. That's what he looked like. Give it a year. And Zangief now looks like this, right? So it's like, give it a year. He looks entirely different. So you guys are judging these alpha characters they put out of their first renditions. Look at the difference, folks. They clearly have a long way to go with the alpha figures. Yeah, it still blows my mind Jada won't be at NYCC. I hate to speculate. Hopefully they're cooking up something good for us. Well, when would they announce it? At the next San Diego Comic-Con next July? So look at this. They clearly can do a lot in a year's time. Like, look at the head sculpts even. He's got more of a tan. The articulation looks better. Look at the hair on the legs. Totally different. Like, they change a lot. So you can't sit there and be like, oh, their first renditions look terrible. Well, they got a long ways to go, and you got to give them time. But I did want to talk about this, right? And I want you guys to keep an open mind, because I guarantee I'm going to get a lot of people that are going to be upset with where I'm going on this. And I want you to just hear me out, right? Don't chop off my head right away. You got to let me make my argument first, and then you can decide if you still want to chop my head off. You still might want to afterwards. Target still has tags for Marvel Legends, though. Just crap shipments. I do not see any Jada Street Fighter. Dude, I haven't seen new shipment of Jada toys at Target for a long time. That's another reason. That MK IP is still floating around. No, it's not. It's with McFarlane, and you know that. Maybe in your fantasy world where you want another company to pick it up, but you know darn well that Papa Todd has that license right now. I don't know if they should abandon it, because Arena only showed off what's coming, which will take them 4 years just to release one with how slow they are. Snow, that's old Storm. That's old Storm. Storm has really picked it up. I think they have gotten a really bad rap within the last 5 years. You got to remember, Storm deals directly out of Hong Kong. They dealt with COVID for 2 years. Now they're dealing with these tariffs. They've really only, in the last 5 years, Storm has really only had 2 years to be fully productive. That's why 2026 has so many more figures coming compared to 2025. And they're still going to get 5 figures out by the end of this year. Not that one. It's 1,000 MK games. I guess that's true. Okay. So one, you guys are missing. There's new articulation on these. What do you guys think of the new articulation system? First of all, on these. Before we even move forward, and I'm going to tell you why I think Jada should actually abandon the Alpha 3 line. That's my position. And I'm going to tell you guys why. Alex, I think you're wrong. I think next year Storm does pick it up. I think for all the new collectors, they're just used to Storm really being slow, but they're not that slow. They really aren't. If you go back to the 2018s, 2017s, 2019s, before COVID hit, they were pumping out figures. They just seem slow. I think it's all an illusion, but we'll talk about that too. Well, to be fair, I do think this Chun-Li looks better, in all factual. Who will do the Ultimate Mortal Kombat or Trilogy first? If it ever happens, Storm or Jada, I'd be fine with either one, to be honest. I don't even care. Just get it out of McFarlane's hands. Damn, I'm late. Stone, I'm a little disappointed in you. I thought you were going to be here. I thought you were going to be the first one in here. Now I know to set my expectations a lot lower, but that's okay. But hey, Stone, you know what you could do? You could leave a like on the stream, and I'll forgive you. And for anyone, really, if they could leave a like on the stream, it gets more eyes on the channel. I appreciate it. Okay, so this is assuming that Storm says they're going to do what they're going to do, because so far this year, Storm has delivered in getting the figures out so far that they said they were going to get out as far as Storm Arena is concerned. Granted, they're still having trouble getting things to the United States, but that's I can give them a pass kind of because of the tariffs, but not really. Cool Guy 74, what's going on? So, here's my position, and I want you guys to really hear me out first before you say anything. I think Jada I mean, they can put out these arena figures, but ultimately, I think Jada should abandon Alpha 3. I do. I do. And I'm going to tell you why. Because by the end of next year, Storm will be, assuming they stay up to production, which they have so far, so I have no other reason other than if tariffs just get absolutely beyond crazy, they will be so far ahead of Jada in the Alpha realm that it just makes more sense. At that point, they will have, if they, and granted, they have to stay up the schedule, and they have so far, they will be 8 figures, characters ahead of Jada. And Jada, I want you guys to remember that Jada is only releasing the Alpha figures once they're done with Street Fighter Ultra 2. And they are not, so far on the pacing that they're at, will not be done with Street Fighter Ultra 2 until summer of next year. They say spring, I have my doubts. I'm saying by June or July of next year, they will get their final figures out, which means they don't get these 3 figures out until quarter 3, quarter 4 of next year. So these are the only 3 figures that you're going to see from Alpha from Jada next year. They are going to be, and then that's not to say that Storm's not going to announce another 6 figures that they're going to put out for 2027 when Jada's just going to put out their next 5. So that would put Jada at 8, and that would put Storm at 17. There's just no way that they can catch up at this point. So to me, you know what? That's fine. Put these figures out. You've already made the money. But after these, I say abandon ship. And it's really just because Storm has such a head start on this line. Storm does have a distribution problem, but that has been, it really has, like, it looks like they have, and they have with the Americas, but they're still on their release schedule, technically. Storm is never going to release that many figures. They have before, Han. You guys are used to Storm over from 2020 on. If you guys did not collect Storm from 2017 through 2019, they put out like over 17 figures a year. Go back and look at Storm's history on how many figures they have out. They have so many. And they can put out the production, but they've been halted by a couple different things over the last 5 years. For 2 of the last 5 years, they've had COVID, where everything shut down. From 2020 to 2021, they had complete shutdown, nothing. So that, in 2 years, that's a big halt on what you can do figure-wise when you're not dealing directly in there. From 23 to 24, that's when they got all that you're seeing right now. Scheduled, planned, sculpted, everything. They were working on Storm Arena from 23-24, and now this year, tariffs are hitting, so it's like they can't catch a break. But so far this year, they have been caught up with everything they said they've going to do. So far. What did Glover say? When Storm came with Alpha, it really messed up the flow. June couldn't even hide the disappointment. Yeah, he did seem disappointed at San Diego Comic-Con. Hey, Alex, where's Jada been this year, dude? I mean, where's the last 3 figures? If Jada doesn't announce the next 3 figures by the end of this month, they're not going to be here by quarter 4. I promise you that. Where's E Honda? Where is Akuma? Where is Balrog? If they do not get their pre-orders out by the end of September, they're not going to be here in time. And you can book it. June is tired of the same questions y'all be asking him. Ha! I'm glad you include me in that, like I've ever asked June a question. I would be asking way better questions, Han. I've never had the opportunity. Don't you dare throw me in with a bunch of the rest of these marks out there. Like I'd care what his favorite property would be to get. Or any of that. I've never gotten the chance to ask him questions. I'd have plenty of good questions for him. Don't you worry. Don't you dare throw me in there with the rest of these guys. Hey, June, if you had the chance to get your favorite license, what would that be? Even though he's answered that question at least 9 times. Thank you, Han. I appreciate it. Look at Vega from the pre-order to in hand. It was quick. Vega was supposed to be released in April, Alex. And guess what? Big Bad Toy Store isn't even shipping him out yet. So I don't know what you're talking or smoking. Why don't you pass it over to me? I'll take a hit of what Alex is taking. Vega was pushed back tremendously. He was supposed to originally be released in April. And he didn't get shipped out until May/early June. So what are we talking right now? How dare you? That's BBTS? Well, that's okay. That's also Entertainment Earth, and that's also Amazon. So where are you buying from, Alex? The same places that we buy our Storm Arena from? Because I agree with you. But then if you say you're buying from Ollie and eBay, then that's the same thing you can do with Storm to get them 2 months earlier. He was pushed back. Okay, BBTS is shipping him out. That's fine. But Vega was pushed back. He was definitely pushed back. He was supposed to be out in early spring. We didn't get him till summer. You got yours quick from Entertainment Earth? When did you get him, Alex? Because you were supposed to get him Q2. When did you get him? When did you get yours from Entertainment Earth? I'm just curious. Because he was supposed to be out in April, May, and he didn't come out until June and July. I'm just curious. He was delayed. There's no question about it. I get it. And this is not a pile on Jada. I love Jada. But they've had a slower year this year, and I think anybody that's not shilling hard for Jada would agree with that. They've had a slower year. They have. No one's ending friendships. I'm still friends with Alex. I love Alex. That's not a big delay, dude. Oh, really? Everyone's freaking out about Ryu being pushed back, but that's a huge delay. Ryu got pushed back 2 months from when he originally said. Ryu was supposed to come out Q2. He's coming out in September. That's a couple months. It's the same pushback that Vega got pushed back. But Storm is so in the wrong. You can't say that something is fine for Jada, but then if Storm does the exact same thing, then, oh, Storm's doing the same thing. There's fine. I'm not even being critical. And you still didn't answer me, Alex. When did you... BBTS still doesn't have Storm, Ryu, and Ken? They had Ken. They sold out of Ken. And Ryu, yeah, and they do have Ryu. I just got my shipping last week. I'm literally doing the exact opposite? What do you mean? Alex, you still haven't answered. When did you get your Vega? Baki's coming out this month, Stoned. Mr. Lee informed everyone that Baki's coming out this month. Baki's not on ice. Mr. Lee literally just said that he's coming out a week later than Yujiro. I'm looking up. Hang on. All right, Alex. I got my notified yesterday that my Ken and Ryu were shipping out. There was no delay on Baki. They just happened to send the sample for Yujiro faster than Baki. I mean, BBTS sent out their first wave of Ken like a month and a half ago. Or a month ago. This is wave 2 of them getting a different shipment in because they sold out. And this is their first shipment of Ryu. And if you guys, I already told you guys, if you're waiting on Big Bad Toy Store for Storm Arena, you're going to wait. You're going to wait. That's one of the worst decisions Storm ever made, was hitching their wagon to Big Bad Toy Store. But, I mean, I had Ryu and Ken about 3 months ago. You don't stream with Mars anymore? I streamed with him like 2 days ago. Where were you? Nowhere to be found. But yeah, mine still says processing. Dude, that's a Big Bad Toy Store thing. Don't blame Storm, because Big Bad Toy Store takes 4 weeks to process an order. Anyone here know of a Street Fighter toy line from the 90s that are 7 or 8 inch with cloth? Not that I know of. It's weird because Arena Ken was available in the UK months ago too. I'm telling you. If you're waiting on Big Bad Toy Store, then sure. That's where Storm's main hiccup is. They have a hard time. And not to mention, Big Bad Toy Store takes forever to ship even when they get the figures on time. I don't know, Keaton. I don't think Storm Arena will be that compromised if they get knockoffs, because how much cheaper can you make the figures? I mean, that Storm Arena is already pretty cheap. So it's like the main thing about knockoffs are like they're supposed to be cheaper for product you can't get. So I doubt anybody would waste their time, because how much cheaper can you get than $30, $40? 20, I guess. But even then, I don't know that it'd be worth their money to make a knockoff. I mean, I guess. We used to get worse delays with Hasbro. I mean, are we talking? We're not talking Hasbro. I don't know if they'd want to knock off. I mean, NECA, I guess, technically gets knockoffs, but usually it's for figures that were released forever ago and you can't get anymore. Yeah, I see that. Jada knockoff is pointless. They're not as expensive like SHF knockoff McFarlane's. Yeah, I think, but the knockoff McFarlane's are also for older figures that you can't get anymore. None of the newer figures are getting knocked off. Okay, but yeah, that's really my point for Jada. Like, I just feel like they're still going to be way too far behind. I think it would be smart to maybe pivot to another game when Storm, honestly, I think you guys will be shocked. And granted, I'm right there with you guys. I'm still not convinced that Storm can get this done. But if they do, then Jada will be super far behind. I'm talking double digits behind. They'll have 3 figures out, while by the rest of the year, Storm is going to have 9, 8 more figures out left. There are knockoff McFarlane's. Ugh. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, Storm is getting their collectibles line. It does look like they're starting to make Guile, Ryu, and Ken in the collectibles line. They are doing knockoffs of those. That's right, Stone. Last Son of Krypton. I mean, I'm waiting on Alex to see when he got his Vega, because he said he got it really fast from Entertainment Earth. And I'm curious to see what he thinks fast is. The DBZ knockoff business is booming. I heard that, actually. I'm not a big DBZ guy, but I did hear that. Jada's doing just fine. Alex, they haven't even announced their next wave yet. If they don't announce them by the end of this month, they won't even get them out by the end of this year. You understand that, right? If they don't announce a figure by the end of this year, they're not going to hit this year. Most likely. They might squeak in at the bare end of December. Maybe. So, I don't know what we're talking. We're almost halfway through September. And we still have no word on Balrog, Akuma, or E Honda. 0. So I'm glad you're confident, but it's looking a little bit close for comfort for Jada right now. Late June? Oh, that's funny, Alex, because it came out. Let's see, when did I do my Vega video? Late June. What a terrible answer. Now I really have to smoke you. Let me take a look. When was my Vega video? Yep. May. Actually, I don't know when it was. When was it? When was this? It says 1 month ago. I don't know. Richie became the villain? I'm not the villain. What are we talking about? It'll be January, so they put out 3 new figures this year. You consider that a win on Jada's part? How am I turning heel? Did I sell blue Blanca? It was yellow Blanca, and yes, I did. So you guys think Jada did just fine releasing 3 figures this year if that's all they get out. I smoked you, Alex, and you know it. I smoked you. I have unrealistic expectations. How is that unrealistic? That would be, they've put out 6 new figures every year since they've started. No, I collect Jada figures, but I'm going to call them out if I see slower production. Exactly, Alex. Twist. Jada's been slow as fuck this year. They've gotten slower and slower over time with pushbacks. They have. Anybody that says that, I'm not saying they're not moving at a fine pace, but you cannot ignore they have gotten slower. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but you can't say that they haven't because they have. That's factual. F-A-C-T-U-A-L. Factual. Exclamation point. That is a fact. That is not a speculation. That is a fact. They have gotten slower. That's all I'm saying. I think with tariffs being a big issue this year, they did fine. Every company had to deal with tariffs, not just Jada. Storm is going to put out 5 figures brand new this year. That's 2 more than Jada, assuming Jada doesn't get their figures out. That means that Storm is moving faster. No? Last time I checked, 5 was more than 3. I didn't grow a goatee. Gross. I'm not shilling for Storm. That's not something they directly control. Neither can Storm. Hello? So we're going to give Jada the pass for tariffs, but not Storm? Oh, that's rich. That's rich. Smoked. Alex has been smoked, and that's enough. Alex has been smoked. He's been smoked. He's smoking right now. I can see him from a mile away. He's been smoked. There's no way you're making that argument for Jada and not Storm. I don't care about it. You do. I don't care about it. My channel is about the 2 companies. So if I'm going to note, and trust me, I shit on Storm all the time. I do not think Storm is a perfect company. I do think they've had trouble with production and getting figures here and all that throughout the years. But for me to say that Jada has not started to slip a little bit in their own right would be a lie. Are they still moving at a fine pace? Sure. But according to June, last Comic-Con, they were supposed to be done by the end of this year. No? If you go back to 2024, he said that the Street Fighter Ultra 2 roster should be finished and out in everybody's hands by the end of 2025. And we still have only gotten 3 figures this year. Is that not factual? Go back and look at 2024 San Diego Comic-Con. He said all these figures should be released by the end of 2025. That's what he said. And here it is, 2025, and all we've gotten this year are Vega, Blanca, and Sagat. That's it. That's not the rest of the lineup. And they're not even supposed to be finished with Street Fighter Ultra 2 until the middle of next year. And it's not even that crazy. I don't even care. I mean, Alex can have his own opinion. But to make up the excuses for Jada and not share those same excuses when Storm is in the exact same situation is crazy. It is. And I don't even care that much. I more just kind of over-exaggerate for entertainment purposes. Because if I didn't, then this stream would be boring as shit. I know a lot of other figure channels out there that do live streams where they just sit there and talk like this the whole time. What did you guys think about this figure? Yeah, I think it was pretty good. I mean, I might buy that one. That's what they talk like. They talk like this. If I don't get a little bit more exaggerated, then this stream gets boring as shit. It does. Hey, what did you guys think? They just announced this new figure. What did you guys think about this figure? Uh-huh. I mean, if that's your style, then that's fine, but that's not what you're going to get here. I'm just pointing out that you don't bring up Storm's delays. Alex, I bring it up every video. I bring it up literally every video that Storm takes way too long to ship to America. Every video. Go watch any of them. I say I'm still not convinced. I still think Storm is not in control of getting things to America fast enough. I literally say it every video. Every video. Any video that I talk about Storm as a main topic, I always say I do not trust them yet. That I still am used to their old, slow, delayed ways of putting out figures. But I do think they've made a conscious effort to try and fix that and put that out this year. But to say that Jada hasn't slowed down themselves is just not even like addressing what's going on. And you couldn't argue that June didn't seem as happy as he did. I mean, granted, he might have been tired. There could have been a million different things going on. But he did not seem as happy at the San Diego Comic-Con as he typically did in past ones. He seemed a little irritated. You're welcome, Yakab. June did slow down the last year. You don't see him at all. You don't see him talking to any YouTubers anymore. Bobo. Love that name, by the way. Back in my day, we waited 5 years. I mean, technically, they're still doing pretty good. The thing is that I think people kind of mix the companies because Hasbro pumps out figures, right? So it's like you're dealing with all these different companies that move at their own different paces. But compared Jada's last couple of years compared to this year, it's been slower. It's factual. But Storm is definitely sped up this year compared to past years according to Storm standards, right? You could not argue and say that Storm hasn't put in more of an effort this year. They're dropping something literally every week, whether it's a promotional shot, whether it's a pre-order, whether it's something to keep their name out there. I have not seen anything from Jada other than WonderCon and San Diego Comic-Con. You can't say that Storm has put in more of an effort this year in trying to keep their name out there in the figure world. Jada is fine with the, and Jada does fine, and they don't technically even need to do that because they got so many people out there always pushing their name all the time. I do think that they may have bit off more that they can chew with bringing on some different licenses. June is sick of y'all. He might be sick of us. Their line was sniped. Well, yeah. I agree that. I 100% agree that June was probably pissed off that Storm ended up choosing the same property. Whether it was intentional or by accident, I'm sure June was very irritated that that happened. There's no doubt in my mind. Don't forget that Jada is putting out other lines out. Well, don't forget that Storm is also doing the same thing, so that's not an excuse either. Storm is also covering Baki Hanma, Darkstalkers, King of Fighter. Not to mention their traditional Storm collectibles line. So, I mean, that's not an excuse for Jada. Storm is doing the same thing. Any excuse you guys are making for Jada, and I'm not even putting down Jada. All I've said is that they've slowed down this year. That's not that crazy to say. Jada's not cooked. And I'm not saying Jada's going out of business or all I've said, folks. All I've said, for all those people thinking all this crazy, Jada's finished. No, they're not. Jada's not close to being finished. All I'm saying is that Jada has slowed down this year compared to other years. And I've noticed. That's it. That's it. And I'm sure there's a bunch of things that go into that. Tariffs. Storm Arena ended up doing the same property they wanted to do. I'm sure there's a ton. All I'm saying is that they've slowed down this year, and you guys have made it into this huge thing. They have slowed down this year, and that's not that crazy. That's fine. They're gonna be fine. Jada will be fine. I want to get that across. They have slowed down, but they will be fine. There's enough room for everybody. I mean, hell, I'm collecting a SH figure art Spider-Man, and I don't even collect SH figure art. If the figures are good, people are going to collect Jada. And that's fine. Jada is not over, Venom. Shut up. Jada is so over. They're not over. Jada will be fine. They will thrive. They've had a few setbacks. Companies have setbacks. It happens. It's not that crazy to say that they've slowed down. But to you guys, it's like, oh my god, he's gone against the grain. He says Jada's finished. They'll be out of business in 2 months. He said it. No, I didn't say that. All I said is they slowed down. They're out of plastic. They can't continue. June hates everyone. June doesn't hate everyone. Is he irritated with certain situations that are going on? Yes. Has Jada slowed down a little bit probably due to tariffs and maybe some production things? Sure. But that's not that crazy to say. But when June says that the lineup was supposed to be finished by the end of this year and we still haven't gotten pre-orders and here it is almost mid-September, then yeah, I'm going to call it out. Because you guys would call other shit out for other companies. I don't know why Jada and McFarlane get the excuse. Because they're smaller companies and they're mom and pop store. That's not an excuse. It's not an excuse. I will call out any company doing wrong. And I promise you, if any of you guys go in to my last Storm videos, I talk shit on Storm literally all the last half of every video. I say they're too slow and blah, blah, blah. But it looks like next year they could pick up. So I can't say anything honestly. I can just make observations up to right now. I can't say anything until January 1st, 12:01 of 2026. At that time, that's when that's the end of the race. At that time, I can say whether Jada had a productive and, fine year, and I can say the same about Storm. Because there's still a lot of time left in the year. And I can, at that point, say, this is what they put out in 2025. This is what I'm going off of. Richie hates June confirmed. If you're going to leave, first of all, you're not even spelling his name right. So let's get that straight. June's... I am curious to see how that... Why y'all hate me, June. I love June. I think he's a great guy. I think it was... I do think that June... Does anybody think that June had to slow down on YouTube interviews? Because now they're like, dude, Storm is watching those. Storm could be watching those. You maybe not want to start revealing all our product on these YouTuber websites. Does anybody else think that? That June had to stop due to potential, like, information? Hey, June, let's maybe not do those anymore because Storm representatives could be watching those. Oh, shit, you're probably right. Does that not seem likely? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Alex, I still love you, by the way. I don't hate you because we had a disagreement or anything. You know, everybody in the world does not agree on everything. Did we get a little more intense than other people? Sure, but that's because we're passionate. No one has the passion that me and Alex have, all right? You wouldn't understand. Not like Lee over here that's misspelling June's name. He doesn't get it. Lee86, he'll never get it. He doesn't understand. Me and Alex, we know what we're doing. It's not that serious. It's all action figures at the end of the day. Do I make it seem more serious than it is? Absolutely. Just because I'm more animated of a personality than most people are about action figures, but that's fine. We're all fine, folks. We're all friends. I'm not losing anybody because of toys. It's not that crazy. The fact that we argue about toys is hilarious in general. Guys, June stopped interviews before Storm Arena. Eduardo, is that maybe because they were tipped off and heard about what happened with Storm? I don't know. I would love to know what happened with the whole thing is... I'm passionate about hating Jada. Hey, I definitely know that people are picking sides. I tell people all the time not... June's name is spelled J-U-H-N. For those in the back that don't know that. It's J-U-H-N. It's not J-O-O-N. It's not J-U-N-E. He's not a month. It's J-U-H-N. That's how you spell his name. Anyways. I would love to know when and how June was informed that Storm was doing Alpha 3. And when they found out. Because they announced Storm Arena... New York Comic Con, it'd be a year from this October. That rocked their world. You sold your Yujiro last week? Dude, I still have a Sagat mint in box, never opened Storm Collectibles Player 1 edition that I sold all my Player 2s and all the figures that were not officially Street Fighter Ultra 2. I still have Blanca. I still have Sagat, Player 1. I sold the Player 2, the Grail. I still would love to get that figure back again someday. And then I still have Zangief and my Evil Ryu and Violent Ken from Street Fighter Ultra 2. I kept those in the collectible line. June loves Street Fighter. He's probs, just bummed on a personal level that the next game he really wants to do is being done by Storm. I mean, Alex, at the end of the day, June ended up... Jada is always going to be the pioneers of Storm Arena. Probably doesn't exist without Jada Toys. We can all put that down in the history books. At the end of the day, Jada Toys will still be the only company that completes the or will be the first company. Will they be the last? I don't know. But they are the only company to fully complete the Street Fighter Ultra 2 roster. Now, if New York Comic Con comes around and Storm Arena comes out and announces they're doing Street Fighter Ultra 2 figures, uh-oh. Uh-oh. That would be insane if they announced that. My God. What if they announced that at New York Comic Con? Oh, by the way, we're gonna start doing Street Fighter Ultra 2 figures in Storm Arena. Dude, now that would be absolutely insane. My God. Why is there no update on anything Darkstalkers? I don't know. I think we'll probably get... They're probably going to be slated for 2026. I think they're really pushing out the alpha line for Street Fighter. I think that's their focus. And then they are slowly moving on the other. It's kind of like, why is Cyberpunk moving so slow on Jada? That's kind of like the same thing. I feel like Darkstalkers is like Storm's Cyberpunk. Like, they're putting them out, but they're not like a main priority. Storm is doing articulated sculptures. They are nice, man. They are nice. What'd you guys think of this effect piece for E Honda, by the way? I don't know how many of you guys actually saw this, but it's pretty cool. Storm is trying to put Jada out of business. Dude, Jada's not going out of business. I don't care how well Storm sells. Jada will do fine. They seem more interested in snuffing out Jada Street Fighter line. Dude, I'm telling you. If Storm announces Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter Ultra 2 Storm Arena figures, it's going to be yikes. That's a yikes right there. The next release for Storm is Yujiro and Baki. I heard they're only a week apart from each other. And then the next one after that, Sagat, and that should finish out Storm's 2025 season. I like both companies. I mean, I'm looking at 90% of the figures in front of me right now are Jada toys, other than the 2 Ken and Ryu figures that I have from Storm Arena. Yeah, if they had now, I mean, what would you, okay, so say tomorrow is New York Comic Con, Storm Arena comes out and announces they are also going to start doing Street Fighter Ultra 2. What do you do? Do you keep all your Jada toys? Like, are you guys, a lot of you guys still going to keep? I would assume a lot of people would, but I think that'd be interesting. How many people would end up selling their Jada toy Street Fighter Ultra 2s if Storm was going to do it? Is what I'd be curious to know. It does come a bit snaky. I agree, Stormed. I'd like to see how E Honda's effects from a side view. Factual. Jada should ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. Storm attempting to do Ultra Street. Yeah. I do not hate Jada, dude. I love Jada. That's how I started my this channel doesn't even exist without Jada. That's how I started my channel. I just can't understand buying anything Jada. The faces are so goofy. I mean, they're fine. They're just different stylistically. It's like saying Marvel Legends and Mafex. They're just different. They're made with different material than Storm and all that stuff, so it's hard to say, like... Granted, there's big price differences in the two companies I just said, but it's like... They're all these companies use different materials and different, like, stuff, so it's... I get it. Can't sell them. They ain't worth shit. That's actually factual. That is true. There is not... The only resell that any of these Jadas really have are the evil Ryu and maybe Ken. You love the Jada faces? I don't think the Jada faces are bad. I think they look great. I think some look better than others. But I love Vega's head sculpt. I love Guile's head sculpt. I like Fei Long's head sculpt. I love Dalsim's head sculpt. Blanca's is fire. I think the ones that I don't like as much are probably Ken and Ryu's are really the only ones where I'm like, they could probably do better. Even Ken, I feel like, is pretty close. He just maybe need... I don't know. There's something about Ken's face. And Ryu definitely needs... I don't know. I don't know what we could change on Ryu's, but... Yeah, no. I mean, selling Jada in the aftermarket, you're probably getting, like... If they're opened, then you're probably getting $15 a figure. Unless it's like Blanca. Yeah, I'm probably there with you, Cobb. I'd probably just keep everything. Guile is too ugly. Guile's not ugly, too. He does look soft, though, in the face. I think he needed a little bit more shading in his hair and on his face. I love the Dhalsim figure, man. That's why I skipped that Ken. Yeah. Nah, I don't think... I think Chun-Li looks pretty good, Stone. Not a fan of Jada's Ken, E. Honda, M. Bison, and Akuma. All, to be honest. I heard a lot of people say that they don't think Akuma is dark enough. First of all, racist. My god, I should cancel everyone. Just kidding. I feel like people don't know even what the word racist means anymore. There's a difference between racist and stereotype. I do think that Akuma is a little too light in the skin department. With that being said, I think he is supposed to be a little bit darker. But this could also be the lighting that he's under, too. I can't really tell. Because, look, his hair almost looks damn near white because of the lighting. So I can't tell if they did good on the... But he does look a little bit lighter, right? Vega is dope, too. I like Vega. I think Vega is one of their best figures. I love the Vega. Big fan of the Vega. And I love the Guile, too. I think Dhalsim is still one of their best figures. Akuma has a granny face. But, I mean, what does he look like? That's what he looks like. What is he supposed to... I mean, you bring up a picture of Akuma. He looks like a grandma. I think Akuma's face is kind of hard to capture. Sorry. Oh my god, sorry. I mean, look at Storm's. So look at this, right? Granted, it's a little bit different. But look at Storm's Akuma. Granted, this is Street Fighter V, but like... that face looks pretty close to the same. See? It looks borderline like a grandma in the face, kinda. This figure came out so long ago, too. 69. This figure was $69.99. That's crazy. When was this released? Doesn't say. That's crazy, though. Way better. Storm's face is more stoic. The nose, dude. Not the nose. Yeah, he does have a little bit more of a pointy nose on Jada's, huh? I don't know if that's what he looks like, though. It's close, Stone. It's close. I need to get him. He's not cheap. He's like $130 to get that card, to get that figure. I think Jada's Akuma looks fine. I think he looks good. But hey, to each their own, you know? I think everyone can agree to some degree. I don't know. People have to remember that these are very specifically Street Fighter 2. Yeah. I mean, Alex, what do you think about Storm's... I mean, do you think Storm has a better sculpt than Jada, or no? Like, if you had to pick one, like, which figure actually looks better, are you going with Storm or Jada? I know you love Jada, but compared to what you've seen from Storm so far in their arena line, do you think that their sculpt is better? Or do you think, in terms of, like, their sculpting and shading... I would think most people would agree that I think Storms do look technically better. Now, as far as the company, how it's ran, shipment, all that, that's another beast. But we're talking just figures now. Do you think that Storm's figures look better than Jada's? In the arena, I'm not talking their collectibles line either. I like Storm's Charlie body. I mean, we can do a comparison. Let's do that. I love bringing up that That's a great picture to bring up because, granted, again, there's a lot that can change. We are still looking at a first rendition, but I definitely think Jada's look a little more on the cartoony side. I don't know if that's the right word, animated side. And like, to me, Storm's look very anime-esque. Like, it looks like it's from an anime, where Jada's looks like maybe it's from the cartoon version on, like, Saturday morning cartoons. Which is fine, I like that. Wait, what did Alex say? I just really don't like Storm's Charlie's head. You don't like Charlie's head? Pause. He's not a bullshitter, Stoned. He's allowed to have an opinion. That's literally the artwork. Which one? I don't like... Okay, so Jada's... I don't like the way they did Charlie's hair. Particularly. On Jada's. It's a little bit... I don't know. I don't like... It's a little too thick in the front, I think. Maybe that's what it is. Storm's colors are too dark. Well, you got to remember, look at the lighting on the figure on Jada's. I just think it's not... I think the Storm picture they're comparing it to is way too dark, and then Jada's is way too bright. Because look at the lights that are on Jada's compared to Storm's. You're looking at a figure being held by a guy under no lights on the left, and then you're under a display case with like 1,000 lights on Jada's. So, I mean, if you want to see a better picture of freaking... I mean, granted, these pictures are pretty dark too, but... It's a good-looking figure, man. Different focal lenses. That's what I do like. Oh, you like his hair better? You don't like Storm's hair. You like the bigger strands of hair on Jada's? The head sculpt we always wanted for Storm, but they're not going to give us. This is a Soda Toys, by the way, but man, would have killed for that in a Storm edition. Look how good that Sagat figure is going to look. Alex, what are your thoughts on the Sagats? So, there's the Sagat there. Right? I like them both. Well, if you had to pick one, which one would you like? Sculpt-wise, we're just talking sculpt. If you say Jada Sagat looks better, you're rage baiting. I mean, if you were to tell somebody that these figures were the same price, is just insane. Granted, again, these look very Marvel Legendist. Like, these look like, if you were to, like, as far as, like, putting the worlds together, these look like the plastic that Hasbro uses on their Marvel Legends, right? Like, these look like these would mesh better with Marvel Legends, where if you mesh these with Marvel Legends, they look like they come from another world in the hemisphere, right? They're from a different planet. So I do think Jada has that going for them, where I do think the plastics look and the sculpts look very similar to like a Marvel Legend, right? Wait, what did Alex say? I like Jada's head better. Okay, well, again, so this one right here is the prototype, so we can't really count that one. Let's get the official headshot of what he looks like. Where is it? I mean, goddamn. Goddamn. Alex, your thoughts. Your thoughts, Alex. Pending thoughts. That's the final product. Yeah, the Jada Sagat doesn't look like the Street Fighter Ultra 2 art, though. You prefer the look of Jada's. I'm not saying No, I definitely don't like the alpha version head sculpt of... Like, my favorite Sagat head sculpt of all time, and again, I know this goes against all that Storm, or all that, I know this goes against everything that Alex is about, but goddamn, this head sculpt right here by Storm, that's pretty nutty, bro. Like the stoic head sculpt on Storm's collectibles, Street Fighter 2 Ultra. Like, that's nuts. Come on, man. That's gotta be the best. That's gotta be the best head sculpt that Sagat ever gets. No, we weren't talking about this one, no. No, we're not talking about this one. But it doesn't get much better than the collectibles Sagat head sculpt. This one right here, it doesn't get better than that. I agree with Alex, though. I am not a fan of the way Sagat looks in Alpha 3. It's not my favorite Sagat. Ultra 2 is my favorite. So, does Jada technically win because I like that, the way they do that better? I mean, let me see. It's hard to say, pull up a picture of Sagat from Street Fighter 2. You guys know the graphics on that game are terrible, right? So it's like, they're just kind of having to, like, they're having to really, like, exaggerate. Because, like, what's even, like, that's the best that he look, like, that's the best picture you're getting of, like, Street Fighter Ultra 2. Now, I think they did the best that they could in the sense that, like, that looks like that for sure. You look at that, and then you look at that. It doesn't get much better than that. But when you look at Jada's, I mean, it looks about as close as you can get in this style of action figure, right? I think Blanca's head sculpt looks really good right here. I think Blanca's head sculpt is one of the best they've done in this lighting. I wish his hair was that bright, but that's just because of the lighting. But Sagat, I don't think he looks bad in pictures, man. I think you guys do. I think you guys are a little harsh on Jada for what they are, though. Actual artwork, I don't even know what that looks like. So I don't even know what I'd be looking for on that. But one last thing here before we finish things up, I was going to ask you guys about... Oh, by the way, because Yujiro is the next figure to hit, don't think for a second that I'm not going to put Storm to the test in making sure this pose is actually possible, by the way. You best believe... You best believe I'm going to be trying that. If it can't do that pose, I'm going to be calling it out. Because there's no way... We've seen your Storm tattoo. I shit on both of them, bro. I do. I think I give it fairly to both. But Storm hasn't done a lot wrong other than their slow production, which is always the case. They've done great marketing and getting people excited. I don't have my Storm Marina Shine of the two figures that they've put out. Don't think for a second I'm not going to be trying this pose. If this pose isn't possible, I'm going to call it false advertising. False advertising if he can't do this pose. Because that's ridiculous. If that actually holds, there's no way. His knees are awful. I mean, all action figure knees look pretty bad. If you're having to, like... do it that way. Stop lying. We've seen your tramp stamp. I like both. Okay, I have more Jada figures than I have Storm Marina figures. And that's factual. And that's true. Guys, my channel doesn't exist without Jada toys. Any shenanigans? You have to do it straight from the box. No cuts. We don't want any shenanigans. Mig, I promise you there will be no shenanigans. It'll be straight from the box. I will open that shit up, and I will do it straight from the box. You best believe. I'm not going to mess around. Sorry. I wanted to see how many viewers were in here, because it froze on my Streamlabs. There's 50 people in here. That's pretty good. Not going to lie. Appreciate everyone coming out. I know we've hit some controversial topics today. It's fine. If you don't agree with me, Alex, Stoned, Young, Gusto, my God, there's some passion. You guys are passionate about action figures. That's fine. I think it's good to be passionate about stuff. But just at the end of the day, no, I don't think anybody has a wrong opinion. Everyone has the right to there are no right or wrong answers on this test. As much as you guys want to make fun that I'm shilling for Jada or Storm, I think everybody has the right to their own opinion. I don't care. It's not that deep to me. At the end of the day, I'm not going to lose any sleep because Alex thinks that Jada's head sculpt is better than Storm's. I'm not going to lose any sleep on that. I might lose sleep on that. Just kidding. Maybe 10 minutes of sleep I might lose. But other than that, I just want you guys to know it's not that serious. I really don't care. Like, it's just fun. I think it's fun. I think it's fun to talk about it. I think it's fun that people get riled up about it. It's kind of like a sports game, right? But yeah. On that note, I've gone overboard. I was not supposed to go almost 2 hours. That's what she said. Wait, that's what he said to her. That's what I said to her. But yeah, unfortunately, not unfortunately, I think we had a pretty good time. I'm not going to lie. Feel like we had a good time today. I think you guys are great. I appreciate all the support you guys show on the videos and the channel. I'll take the criticism. I'm not going to say the remarks. The negative ones don't hurt a little bit because they do. Do I get upset a little bit? Sure. But I think you guys are all great at the end of the day, and I appreciate all your support regardless if you like or a dislike, whatever you do. The engagement is all I care about, and you guys are great at doing that. But other than that, I think you guys have made the stream tremendous. It's been fun. I'll try and do it more. And new video coming out soon. And until then, I think you guys are great. Great stream today, boys. Great stream. Beautiful stream, actually. And on that note, I love you all. Have a great Sunday night and a good next week. I'll see you on the next video. It's been Richie Figs. Later. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Who